Now, your views and comments are welcome on this show. Look for us on our social media platforms. Join News on Facebook and on Twitter. And it's just 88 days to go to the elections, and Ghanaians are gearing up for it. The Electoral Commission is doing its best to ensure that everyone is ready for the exercise. As always, this is your election headquarters, and from now till the winner of the 2016 elections is announced and sworn into office, join us on television, radio, online, and via mobile as we deliver to you the most current and up-to-the-minute election-related stories. Join the conversation on all our social media platforms with the hashtag ElectionHQ. Right, let's begin today with what has been a very tense and difficult 24 hours here in Accra. It has been chaotic, especially for road users, as engineers undertake repair works on a damaged pipeline at the East Legon underpass. The pipeline stretches from East Legon to the Spintex Road, and the repairs have left hundreds of road users plying the stretch between the two communities in heavy traffic. Joining us, Jennifer Cramo has been to the area, and here's her report.
So I'm standing here at Shiashi on a Friday morning, the morning after the Ghana Water Company Limited announced that it's doing some work on the underpass. They actually have a water pipeline over there that they need to work on to supply water to communities in East Legon, Bachana and Spintex. It's causing massive traffic this morning. It's very slow moving into Accra and also moving back into East Legon. Let me speak to one of the motorists this morning on whether they know that this is what is happening and how it's affecting his day. Sir, good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
What do you think of the traffic this Friday morning?
It's very bad. We have spent almost 2 hours in this. I've not heard any announcement yet. Maybe they've made an announcement, but I have not heard it. And usually there is traffic, but it's not heavy like this.
So you've heard one motorist this morning here at Shiashi who's really stuck here in the traffic, which is so heavy for a Friday morning. Is due to the works that the Ghana Water Company Limited is doing on one of their major pipelines that supplies water to East Legon, Bachana and Spintex. They did make an announcement saying they hope the situation will be rectified by midday, but as they wait, as passengers and motorists wait until it's rectified, there is a very large volume of traffic. Let's speak to another motorist here this morning. What do you think of the traffic here this morning?
We don't know where the traffic came from. We are all struggling to get into the main road. Yeah.
Please, did you receive any notice from Ghana Water Company Limited or, the Ministry of Roads and Highways concerning this?
No, I don't think so. We haven't had any information.
So how many hours have you been in traffic this morning?
I joined the traffic around 8 o'clock. Gradually, we got to this point.
We're still here in the traffic. It's still very heavy. Let's speak to this gentleman over here, find out his view. Sirs, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
So, sir, how long have you been stuck in this traffic?
I've been around from 6 o'clock coming and up to now I'm here. I've heard that the motorway has been broken, the underbridge has been broken. That's why we have been keeping long for this period. Of course, it affects us because by the time you will reach at the market, those people that are selling around, they have their depot already, they have been selling. So the market will become difficult for us to sell.
One position I'm hearing very, very often from motorists and passengers alike is that they did not receive any information, and this is in spite of there being a press release being sent out from the Ghana Water Resources, Works and Housing Ministry in conjunction with the Ministry of Roads and Highways concerning the works the Ghana Water Company had started doing yesterday and will continue, hopefully will end by this afternoon at midday. Let's speak to a couple more motorists and get their views. As you can see, the traffic is moving, but it's moving very, very slowly, inch by inch. They do have some police presence at strategic points along the road. We're going to try maybe and cross the road and speak to those heading into East Legon at the moment. How is this traffic affecting you today?
Oh, anyway, We are managing. It's not good, but we are managing.
So we're still at Shiashi. We couldn't get any closer to the underpass because the traffic was so thick, and although it's moving, it's still very, very sluggish for a Friday morning. A few passengers and motorists we've spoken to this morning have said it's taken them several hours more to get to their destinations. Yes, we've even heard the views of one very angry motorist saying we should go and tell them to hurry up and open the underpass. Well, it will be open hopefully by 12 midday, by noon, according to the press release from Ghana Water Company Limited. My name is Jennifer Kwamwa, reporting live from Shiashi.
That was earlier today around the East Legon area where a lot of traffic is building up. In fact, it still is today. The principal basin officer at the Densu Secretariat of the Water Resource Commission, Dr. Ronald Abrahams, is warning that failure to engineer water to the Densu Basin for further treatment for the people of Nsawamedurajuri could result in another water crisis in the dry season. We'll bring you that story in just a moment. But we also know that later this afternoon, my colleague Ernest Kujumeno has been to that same location trying to understand what is actually happening and what's being done about the entire situation. He joins me in the studio now. Ernest, good afternoon to you. Yeah, so I've already had lots of messages from people describing how bad the situation has been since morning. Is it easing yet?
Yes, this afternoon there's a free flow of traffic. Things are running very normal as at this time. But I guess the traffic situation would be worse from around 4 p.m. when, you know, people are returning to their homes. Usually you have people running from East Legon in and out, from the Spintex Road, from Shiashi, from the University of Ghana campus. You know, that area is a very, very busy area for a lot of people, middle-class people. And so around 4 p.m., that's when we are going to witness all of that. But as it stands now, yes, it's a pretty cool situation, easy flow of traffic, yeah.
Okay, ordinarily Fridays are heavy with traffic, but if in the afternoon it's pretty clear, maybe, just maybe, the coast may be coming around. But beyond the ease in traffic, how about the works that are being done?
Yeah, so I got there, I spoke to the engineers on site, and even before speaking to them, Francis, you could tell that a lot is going on at the site. There's so much work to be done. Then I approached the engineer on site, the boss in charge, and he tells me that, look, there's a lot of work to be done. They need to cut some of the pipelines to make sure that they get the accurate, you know, measurements that they need to make sure that they replace the steel. That, you know, what was there initially was made of steel. Okay. Now they're replacing it with an HDPE, I'm told that's what it's called.
Pipes. Okay. Exactly. So, Ernest, let's take your report, what you were able to gather from the location, and then we will begin to appreciate how long this will take and what it will take for us to have the traffic ease in Accra.
Now, this stretch of road is what leads to the tunnel here at the Spintex Road. This tunnel serves as the exit point for those coming from East Legon and the Adenta areas. It is also the entry point for those coming from Spintex, Nungwa, and Bachona who are entering into East Legon and Adenta. On a usual day, it is very busy and actually full of traffic, which is regulated by the police because of the narrowness of the tunnel. Now, we do know that this tunnel was closed to traffic as a result of the some maintenance works that needed to be carried out by the Ghana Water Company. But there was much more traffic in town yesterday because of the closure, and it is as a result of this steel pipe that has gone rusty and developed some faults. The Ghana Water Company needed to replace these steel. They are doing so right now. The work started yesterday. It has been replaced by HDPE pipes. On my right, you can see that these pipes are being connected, and the engineers on site are making sure that they get the right length needed to replace the steel pipe that has been removed so that the Ghana Water Company can effectively distribute water to surrounding areas as well. Now, The Ministry of Water Resource Works and Housing issued a statement saying that this stretch of road will be open to traffic. Indeed, the tunnel will be open to traffic by midday today. It is 2 p.m. as I speak to you right now, and works are still ongoing. It is very clear, and in my conversation with engineers on site, the road cannot be open to traffic because there's still more work that needs to be done. The last two tunnels are being welded to make sure that it gets the accurate measurement for this replacement. And so that is the situation right here at the Sprinters Road, just a few meters away from the tunnel that serves as the entry point for those coming from Sprinters approaching East Legon, and those also coming out of Adenta and its surrounding areas into Sprinters and Accra. My name is Ernest Kojomenu for Joy News.
So we have been able to bring you two reports from the morning and the afternoon about the situation in and around the East Legon, the Trelidor Tunnel. That's where all of this activity is happening. Well, the principal basin officer at the Densu Secretariat of the Water Resources Commission, Dr. Ronald Abraham, has been explaining to us what it will take to get this fixed. And the truth is, we may have to be a bit more patient. This work will take longer than expected.
We need to think about projects that will transfer water from either the Volta Lake or from the Wager Lake to the Nsawam area, because the situation we have on the ground there is not something which we can actually, work with. When it comes to the dry season, we need to have some system in place to support the water situation over there, so that when it comes to the dry season, we do it.
And how regularly, how regularly must these transfers be done over the period?
The transfer can be arranged in such a way that throughout the dry season, the pumping of raw water can be done into the plant, because by which time the water channels in Nsawam on the Densu River will be dry, so that we will be getting regular raw water supply into the treatment facility for treatment.
Well, this speaks to the situation in Nsawam Adwejuri. Well, Dr. Abraham has explained that the measure is among other many recommendations tabled to government over 8 years ago, but have not been implemented due to the change in government.
Governments change. Sometimes some of these recommendations will go. It was started. Part of it was to provide the water from the Volta Lake to Kofredwa area. It used to be like that in Kofredwa area also, where the Densu river system dries up completely and they have to look for water. When you look at what the National Development Planning Commission is doing now, to draw a 40-year plan so that any government that comes into power, they will be able to actually follow the plan. I think that's a laudable thing, because we should have a long-term plan, and then we should have periodic reviews of this long-term plan. They are actually gunning for a 40-year development plan, which will have to actually see some reviews after every 10 years. I think it's laudable, so that any government that comes into power will just look at it. So this is also another clarion call, so that while we are preparing our manifestos, we should actually deal with pertinent issues such as water for people. When you look at Nsawam, the prisons is there. Trading or commercial activities go on there. So by the day, their population is growing. And we have to actually look at the water need of the people when they come on transit or when people come to settle there.
Now, much as the Water Resources Commission is doing its work, they are also asking for the attitudes of many living in these areas to change, to ensure that the good sanitation around the water bodies serving as sources for water production in the country are properly kept.
There is a need for all the local government assemblies, or what we describe simply as districts, to have their own waste treatment facilities, solid waste treatment facilities, as well as the liquid waste treatment facilities. And then we also have to back this with these community re-engineering, as well as attitudinal change. And with attitudinal change, we have to give up the attitude of just the crude dumping into the very communities in which we live. We have to change it. We have to organize our waste and then give them to waste management companies that are working in the field. We have to give up the attitude of dropping things off our vehicles and then dumping things on our compounds or in the neighborhood in which we live, because that is not the best. We have to give up also keeping our animals at home and then allowing them to compete with human beings on the roads and paths and wherever we find them. And then when you look at in Sawam Edwardry area at all, sometimes people take their goats from their home or sheep and they want to wash these animals by the waterside. These are our poor attitudes. It must change. We have actually cultivated the habit of actually putting kiosks everywhere. That is actually not making our country clean and beautiful looking enough. We have to begin to think about developing industries that will absorb people so that will reduce the level of trading activities that we find around us.
Well, that's the situation in Nsawam. So in as much as there are plans to clean the water bodies, there's also a similar plan for the residents living in these areas, not to just go fetch the water because they need it, but also change their attitudes when it comes to polluting the water body. So two things are happening here in the Greater Accra region. First, the problems that are coming with the maintenance work being done around the East Legon area because of the maintenance, the pipes that have to be changed so we get good quality water flowing through our taps. That's one end of the stick. The other part of it is what's happening in Nsawam as the Water Resource Commission is doing its best to protect the water bodies we have so the water we get from Nsawam is clean and we can all enjoy it, not just for today or tomorrow, but for so many years. We'll take a break now, but when we come back, we'll tell you the developments in Fosukrom near Chobodon in the Bunafo region. There are classes that are already having residents terrorized. They are looking to leave the community. We'll tell you why. Plus, we'll have a chat with the man who has been christened the political chameleon going into this year's elections. Lucky Mensa will be joining us here on the program. Stay with us. You're welcome back to The Pulse. Let's quickly head to the Bunafo region where residents of Fosukrom near Tiobodom are being terrorized by land guards with sporadic shooting and attacks. This has resulted in laborers and residents being robbed and assaulted in the community. We'll shortly speak to Anas a bit for the latest on what's happening on the ground, but he has been engaging some of the residents who are telling their own stories of how bad the situation is.
Then I'm saying, come on, be yesterday, Ghana bang, any company for a moon and bubble. And yes, I see idea that you are confined to Minda.
But I had to Fosukrom. I see on me near some dear cry, I had a tick room. I die. There be a timber, Gina, fear, my no to tutu. Now, say, me, Pierre, quite human ban, and me by pra, or my to us, I'm a colleague, Johnny Aquato Woodham. I'm pa colleague pra. Media colleague hospital, my bra colleague who said die. Now says we are tis or man paying for my point of watch woman. Or much woman and dinner. No more said Jamo. Says there be a swaria. Ya quite macra near Yam Shishia. Yamabano to tutu. I die, says a young die. As I see you a man, Maria. Yabeto assassino. Yes, we are free a crumb never has a yabedi power partner, Jayaka class, Yapasum Jana Yatas as he said, Baba Tinaso. Now, Betinas as he swore, there be a 2 pepper, at day, Mopasa Quiana, eh? At day, me buy a bra, at day, Mopasa Muquiana, eh? Yada, Bram paying for more Samuel.
So those are some residents of Fosukrom near Tiobodom in the Bunafo region. And just to quickly translate what they were talking about, they speak of they being constantly harassed by these land guards. They want to build their houses there, but almost on a daily basis, these men come wielding guns, shooting into the roofs of these homes and asking that they leave immediately. But let's find out what the situation is currently. We can speak to Anas Sabet. He's with our affiliate station Gaskia FM in Techiman, following the story. Anas, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Francis.
Right, so we've heard from the residents, but how are things in the community? You've been there yourself to see things at first hand. How are things looking?
Francis, currently, I would say there's calm in the area, but the problem is usually during the early hours of the day and then the later part of the day, that is during the night, that usually the residents get terrorized by these thugs who claim they are land guards protecting the land over there. So as we speak now, I would say the place is calm. The residents are living in a state of fear and insecurity because about 2 weeks ago, the police mounted a swoop arresting 2 of these suspected thugs. And as we speak, some of the residents who spoke to me saying they have information that one of the arrested thugs is currently on bail. That is, they have been granted bail by the regional police command. So that is keeping most of them in a state of fear because they fear being attacked once again by this guy who has been granted bail and then his associate.
And now, tell me something. For the attacks we've seen in Fosukrom, walk us through the number of individuals who've had to suffer as a result. I'm talking those who've died and those who've been injured in the process.
Nearly a year ago, one person lost his life through attacks of this thugs. And in about a month ago, one mason and then his apprentice were shot. They are both responding to treatment as we speak now. Several others have their properties worth millions of Ghana cedis destroyed. I have a VRA worker here who has had his building bent by these thugs, and then some others have also lost several other properties through the activities of these thugs.
And as you speak of the casualties, I need to ask, we were told initially that the police have sent boots on the ground. Is that still the situation? How are things looking?
Yeah, the police in Techiman, I will commend them. They've been doing fantastic, led by the divisional commander, Chief Superintendent Chumasianka. They've been doing well. But what is more worrying is the fact that after the arrest of these 2 thugs about 2 weeks ago, they were being taken to Chinyani Regional Command. So the case is currently handled by the Chinyani Regional Police Command. The Techiman police are unaware of what is actually happening there. But one of the guys at the Chinyani Regional Police Command was granted bail, and that is actually keeping residents of this area in a state of fear. We wanted to find out more from the regional command, but all our attempts to do so is proven fruitless.
All right, thank you, Anasab. It's quite a sad story from that part of the country where there's a lot of tension brewing. Why? Because land guards who've been given the job of protecting lands of individuals who've bought it are now terrorizing individuals who've built their houses through their own sweat, and it's beginning to look like a very difficult situation. We are told that police have sent boots on the ground. A lot of officers have been deployed to that area. We'll see how this unfolds. We'll try and get some more responses from the regional police command and also from the regional minister and see if action is being taken on this one. But from one land dispute turning into tension to another tension brewing, but this time here in the Greater Accra region at Sempe, a settle of Gamashi in the Gan traditional area over some chieftaincy issues. The chief of Sempe, Ni Alute Obo, is said to have signed a document abdicating his throne to one Otinto, who is allegedly a crony of the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Ni Laye Afotagbo. This has incurred the anger of the sub-chiefs and youth of the area, who are calling on the president to remove the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Ni Laye Afotagbo, from office. Here's an interview with Ni Kwakwo II, who is the Jasi chair of Sempe.
Sempe mancheji ni aloto board second. Neji Sempe parliament chief. Ni adoto board.
Ni Alote Oboa II is the chief of Sempe. He has not been destituted, and even though he was dragged to court over his legitimacy, we have won a judgment in our favor, validating him. But recently, we heard reports that suggest Ni Alote Oboa has abdicated his throne to one Otinto, but he does not have the authority to do such a thing because he did not crown himself chief.
Aloto Oboa ebe iwaleni ibanye kemana kanwolo. Ajake aloto Oboa jelenche we. Shia wulumia jenato.
If Ni Alote Oboa is no more interested in the chieftaincy, it is prudent for him to refer to the authorities or the kingmakers.
That way, the right procedures will be followed to install another chief. And in any case, this supposed successor does not qualify to be chief of Sempe. And so I want to say that Ni Alotobo has not followed due process and has erred in this supposed abdication. The youth of Sempe have written to Ni Alotobo to express our misgivings with his actions. We'll also write to all others involved to inform them about the illegality they have perpetrated. The elders who we hear supervise the supposed abdication do not belong to the clans responsible for installing chiefs in Sempe. So they do not have the locals to do such a thing. I have seen the document that suggests he has given out the throne to Otinto. They don't contain the signatures of the legitimate elders responsible. So he did this with his landguards, and hence we are resisting this imposition. Sempe will not allow this to continue. We heard the Greater Accra Regional Minister is also involved in this and has given his consent.
Neke onupa ine ame be shiani atomanche ye shiana jamini jisakatulu na atomanche ame be na kan shiano ewale ame be ewale na kan shia meni ka ame pa manchelo ame ji aloto bo eseno ji sakatulu.
But I want to tell him that he does not hail from Sempe. He has no authority in Sempe and he should stay out of this. The chiefs and youth of Sempe are also asking him to be very careful. He's causing so much havoc in our land. We are asking the president to remove him and all other Gans in his government who are causing trouble in the Gan traditional area from office. They will destroy his government. This is causing so much problems for us. The regional minister is meddling too much in chieftaincy issues in the region. But we want him to know that he is not a kingmaker.
Mona lutu bo chunga ke bata wo senne no ne e bo mode twata ho shi won ke la ke e je Sempe e be hi wala Sempe ni opo na kan original minister e ke ta office.
His role as regional minister is to help resolve issues and not to install chiefs. And so I want to ask the president, if he appointed him to cause problems in the Ghana area, there are laws available for installing and distooling, as well as addressing chieftaincy issues.
Ajake monigbe no cheneke regional minister ne if you mate kwa e wo manche masanjiami ni tafrache oto manche. So we
want to assure the people of Sempe that we'll use the laid down procedures to address these issues. They should remain calm.
Now, we have been trying for the past 3 days to get in touch with the Greater Accra Regional Minister for his side of the story. We have been unable to reach him, but as and when we get a response, we'll bring it to you here on the program. Well, from this story here in the region to another one that has caused a lot of controversy in the past 72 hours. I'm talking about that 16-year-old boy who was forced to commit an act of anal sex with a father of two, a 30-year-old man, Mr. Eric Owusu. Initially, the Amasaman police charged him with unnatural carnal knowledge. That drew the ire of a lot of human rights lawyers and other human rights activists who were complaining that the boy is actually the victim and not the one to be charged for the act. And so we know that human rights lawyer Francis Xavier Susu has been busy on this matter, sent a petition to Shiraj, to the Gender Ministry, to the Attorney General. Today we're learning that in court the police have dropped that charge against the 16-year-old boy. But let's get more from the human rights lawyer Francis Davis, who's also representing the 16-year-old boy. He joins us via Skype now. Mr. Susu, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Very good afternoon to your cherished listeners.
Great.
And viewers.
Right. So we're learning that the police have dropped the charges. You are the lawyer for the boy. Do you know why?
We haven't really gathered the reasons for the police dropping the charge, but it is a welcome news. Today in court, I was represented by my learned colleague, Victor Kwesi Opeku, and he brings in the news that the police has finally decided to drop those charges. But for us, it's really a welcome news because that is exactly what we've been fighting for, that the boy is the victim. He doesn't need to be charged under the circumstances. If anybody must be charged, it is the man who actually influenced the boy to do what he did. And we are going to make sure that we will follow this matter until justice is obtained for this young man.
Now, initially, before this decision by the Amasaman police, you had made it clear that you will go to every length to ensure that this boy's rights are protected. But what was the point in sending the petition to Shiraj, to the Gender Ministry, and to the Attorney General?
Well, it is very important for us to understand that any case that concerns children has an interministerial approach. In the first place, we believe that the police wrongfully exercised their discretion to have him charged. And that was the reason why we're drawing the attention of the Attorney General. And we know that for every prosecution to go on, the Director of Public Prosecution has to, he has a hand in those prosecutions. So we believe that they can advise the police to do the right thing. And then again, it concerns the child. When you look at the Children's Act, a 16-year-old boy clearly is a child who must be protected and whose welfare must be protected as far as this matter is concerned. So it was important that we draw the attention of the Gender Ministry as well. And quite apart from that, we realized that the police were under some form of influence, to want to charge the child. Because clearly from the beginning, it was the child that was a complainant in the case. He brought the case and, after interview, he was given medical forms. He brought back the medical forms, and for whatever reason, the police decided to charge him. So clearly there was some underhand dealing which we believe that was a violation of his rights.
But you see, to say,
something, yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Sosu, to say that there has been some underhand dealings, are you inferring or you know that for a fact?
Well, I'm inferring that from, the fact that we're available, because it's illogical for the police to tend to charge a complainant, in the circumstance of this case. So clearly, there is some logical conclusions as far as this case is concerned that, something went wrong somewhere. It didn't really add up. And that was the reason why we wanted the Shiraj to investigate that. And in fact, we actually took the police officers involved to peace as well. Because we believe that if all these institutions come together, we can guarantee the protection of this child.
Right. So, and it's interesting you say that, because listening to the accounts of the Amasaman police, they made it quite clear that there was a part of the 16-year-old boy's account which did not add up in terms of, and with the details they gave, that how can a 16-year-old boy under duress be able to have an erection to carry out this act? Have you thought of that as well?
Well, I think that is neither here nor there, because if you listen to the child very carefully, he made it clear that whilst he was threatened at the knife point, the man actually lubricated his penis. Regardless of your age, if somebody, got the lubrications and begin to touch your penis and begin to drag it, clearly you will be able to have some erections. So this is somebody who is just a victim of this circumstance. And I don't think merely having an erection under those circumstances can negate, the crime of the man.
Now, what more do we know about the man in question who had the 16-year-old boy do this, Mr. Eriko? So all we know is his name, but what else do we know about him?
Well, so far we haven't gathered any new information about it, apart from the fact that we are holding a working brief for the victim, and we are going to ensure that we are going to follow this case until the prosecution is over, so that if nothing at all, even if this man cannot be charged with unnatural canalization, we believe that he can be charged with indecent assault because he has sexually violated this young man.
All right, Mr. Sosu, thank you for your time this afternoon and for sharing your thoughts with us on this case, where it's traveling to and where you seek to take it. But thank you for that update. I'm sure that in the coming days, when the court opens this case proper, we'll see how this case travels and where it ends up at the end of the day. You're still watching The Pulse on the Joy News channel on Multi-TV.